Good morning, a very warm welcome here today from Waterville. I came to Waterville to follow a thread, quite literally one that once connected two continents. It's hidden behind plaques, pillars and buried under sand. Let's go and find it. Look at this. This seems to be a solar clock. It is currently, almost 11 o'clock. Before emails, before phone calls, before internet and Wi-Fi, the only way to send a message from Europe to America was by ship. And that meant weeks of waiting. Standing here today in Waterville, it is hard to believe that this tiny village on the edge of Ireland was basically the world's first transatlantic broadband hub. Right here, a cable ran under the Atlantic Ocean all the way to Canada. Nearly 2,400 miles, or more than 3,800 kilometers of wires sitting on the ocean floor. The Atlantic Telegraph Cables Trail. Walking along the promenade, the first historic marker came quickly into view. This is the first cable marker. 1884 till 1962. Commercial Cable Company, Waterville. The first attempt to lay a transatlantic cable was back in 1857, and it snapped. They tried again the next year in 1858, got a signal working, Queen Victoria even sent a message to the US president, and then the cable died within weeks. It took years of failed attempts before finally they cracked it. The successful cable came from nearby Valentia Island in 1866. Waterville came slightly later, but went on to become the biggest operation of all three Kerry stations. I then went on to search for a small exhibition that was mentioned on the map. No entry. Here's other entrance. However, I didn't seem to be lucky this time. It says no entry. So there's a plaque here, and it seems I'm at the right place. It's just not open at the moment. See what I can spot across the road. There is actually another marker. Here we go. It says 1857 till 1966. Atlantic Telegraph Cables Trail. There's the old cable house. Seems to be a restaurant. I've just met a nice man from the restaurant, and he gave me a little brochure about the history of the cable station. It's definitely worth having a look. There's also a map in there and everything about the history of this place. And there is another plaque. It's a bit difficult to read in that harsh sunlight. Ah, there we go. There's the next pillar. Commercial Cable Company, 1899 till 1964. The new office. On Christmas Eve 1884, the first message was sent from right here in Waterville to Nova Scotia, Canada. The cable was called the Mackey-Bennett line, nearly 2,400 miles of it, manufactured in Germany by Siemens. Waterville was now officially connected to the New World. The station stayed open and operating from 1884 all the way until 1962. Nearly 80 years of messages across the Atlantic from this very spot. And right there at the end of the road, there's the next pillar. The Commercial Cable Company Water Tower. When the cable company moved in, they didn't just build an office. They built an entire community. Around 300 telegraph workers and their families settled here, and the company constructed houses, shops, even a fire station with its own water tower. These Victorian-era buildings you can still see today. And that here behind me is the old water tower. And there is another pillar. Waterville Cable Station. There's the Coast Guard. And there we can spot another one, Commercial Cable Company. There's a plaque. And also a pillar. The Transatlantic Cable Landing Site. By the early 1900s, 6 out of 10 transatlantic cables in the world ran from this peninsula. 6 out of 10. From here, from Valentia, from Valentia. Kerry was the communications crossroads of the planet. The station closed in 1962, replaced eventually by satellites and then the internet. But those cables are still down there on the ocean floor. And in a way, the fiber optic cables that carry the internet across the Atlantic today follow almost the exact same routes. So in a very real sense, it all started here. After following the cables trail, I went on to explore the town a little bit further. And there's Charlie Chaplin, a statue of him. oat wire. Seems to be the statue of a very famous footballer or something like that. Seems not to be working. Look at that old house just opposite the sea view. Huh. Looks interesting. Seems to be for sale. Food served here all day. And there's another little bit of Charlie Chaplin history here. An impressive piece of art made out of wood. Or is this some naturally grown thing? Looks like.
In 500 meters, slide right to stay on R565.
I then decided to drive the short distance to Valentia Island to learn more about the history of the transatlantic cables.
Turn left onto Cable Station Terrace.
Ha, look. There are two of these pillars as well. Valentia Transatlantic Cable Station. And the other one? Residence of James Graves, first cable station subbed. So I am now standing at the old cable station at Valentia Island. Let's go in and see what there is. Hello.
Hi, how are you? I will give you your tickets. There you
Yeah,
are.
thank you.
Behind me here is this beautiful lithograph, and it was designed by Kimmel and Forrester, which is an ink printing company. And so here we have paintings. These are actually over in the Metropolitan Museum over in New York. They were painted by a very accomplished painter called Robert Charles Dudley. He was commissioned by Cyrus and his men to be on board the ships and offshore and paint all of the scenes that were happening during the 9 years that it took them.
Okay.
You can see here the excitement amongst all people, journalists. They came from all over the world and locals. It was a great excitement for the island.
You can learn a great deal about the numerous failed attempts and the enormous effort required to lay a successful cable. This little gem of a museum is definitely worth a visit if you're in the area.
The second attempt was made a year later on June 10th, 1858. HMS Agamemnon and USS Niagara set out again, each carrying part of the cable, and then the cable breaks, repeatedly.
So just to let you know that this building will be hopefully in 2029, around 2029, becoming a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So just over here, it gives you an idea of the cable itself. This is the 1866 cable here. In the middle we have 7 strands of copper that are molded together. This is the transmitter. So that was the wire that was sending and receiving the telegram signals.
Morse code today. The exhibition inside takes you through the whole story, from the first failed attempts right through to the golden age of the cable. There are artifacts, documents, old equipment, and yes, you can even try your hand at Morse code yourself.
Maybe the internet. Internet. Interesting. I think you may be onto something, Peter. Let's keep this one to ourselves.
I'm here now at the Valentia harbor, just a very short distance from the cable station away. And during the summertime there is actually a ferry where you can go on by car crossing over to the mainland, but at the moment it's unfortunately not running, so we have to go back via the bridge on the other end of the island. Let's have a little wander around here. This is a rocket cart on display for life-saving equipment. There's the lifeboat station. There's actually another plug you can't really see from here. Let me get my phone to make it more visible. Oh, that boat is a bit underwater. This is floating a bit, you can literally feel it as if you're on a boat. And this seems to be the outermost point you can walk to. It's actually quite far out. Quite far out from over there at the harbor. Just walked all the way along here. All the way around. And this is the other side where the mainland is, where you can take the ferry in summer. And at this outermost point of the Valentia Harbour Pier, I'm going to conclude this video. Thank you so much for coming with me to explore the history of the first transatlantic cable. Thank you. Bye bye.